Hey guys, Tim here, and today I thought I would do something different. This is going to be part of a 4-part mini-series where I basically do a video in front of each of my walls and pick out random series and talk about it, why I'm collecting it, if I plan on finishing it, miscellaneous things about series that I find interesting, and just basically educational stuff about manga in general. So yeah, let's do this. Let's see, where is a good place to start? I'm going to start with All You Need Is Kill. What's cool about this one is it was 2 volumes released in Japan, but over here Viz decided to pull one of their dick moves as normal. Well, they've gotten a habit recently of releasing series in omnibus and digital only, so that kind of sucks for them. But this one is actually autographed by Takeshi Obata, and how I got this was Takeshi Obata recently, last year, came to the New York Comic-Con. Well, while he was there, he autographed, I don't know what the number was, but he autographed a bunch of books of All You Need Is Kill to be sold on Right Stuff in conjunction with Viz Media. And basically, it was first come, first serve, and I checked out, and by the time I checked out, they was all gone. And I really didn't know if I snagged a copy or not, but I'm glad I did. I haven't read the series. I know it's based off a novel, and I also know there's an American graphic novel based off from it. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's talk about itself, Saga. I have 1 through 7 and 9 through 27. There's 3 volumes that are hard to find with this series if you're planning on collecting it. And that is 5, 7, and 8. Those 3 volumes are out of print and quite hard to come by. And if you want to buy them used, I suggest looking in used bookstores because they go for more than retail price. Online. I'm missing volume 8, sadly, and that is the reason I cannot read that series yet. I want to store and read it all the way through once I track down volume 8. Alright, let's talk about Buso Renkin. It's a 10-volume series, or allegedly a 10-volume series. It's actually only a 9-volume series. It actually got cancelled in the magazine, and then for the 10th and final volume he got to go and finish up the story in 1 chapter. And in volume 10 it also has the one-shot Embalming the Another Tale of Frankenstein, his current series over in Japan. That hasn't got brought out over here for some reason, even though Nobuhiro Watsuki is a popular mangaka. He did Rurouni Kenshin and some other series that did do quite well over here, so I don't really know why Embalming has not been released. And there's also some like miscellaneous side stuff about Buso Renkin in volume 10, but it's actually only a 9-volume series because the 10th volume doesn't really count because it wasn't serialized in Jump at the time. Let's talk Hunter x Hunter. It's tied in first place for my favorite series of all time, favorite manga series. 32 volumes out, and it goes on hiatus all the time. Anyone that knows about the series knows that. So basically any advice I can give you for reading this series is read up through the Chimera and King arc and then stop, because you're probably going to have to wait 5 or 6 years for some more stuff to come out. Let's talk about Kenichi. This is another series I really love. I believe the total volume count for it is going to be 61. I currently have, well, I have volume 52 ordered, so I have all the way up through 53. Volume 52 just is not in yet, and I will be buying the rest soon. I also have the Kenichi Plus. This is a bunch of little neat side stories that take place in the Kenichi universe in between chapters and stuff. I also have Waza no Tabibito. This is a cool one because it's the one-shot that he drew, and also the storyboards for the OVA that Sion Matsuana actually drew himself. So most of the book is actually storyboards for the anime. Talk about Zombie Powder. Tite Kubo's original work. First serialized work that was not a one-shot. It's a 4-volume series, though it really only has enough content for maybe 3 full volumes, maybe. Because at the end of volumes 2, 3, and 4, it has his one-shots that he did and published beforehand, and they're actually pretty good. I kind of like them. But what I want to talk about is volume 2. Volume 2 is cool because this is actually an alternate cover than what they had in Japan. In Japan, it had C.T. Smith on the cover, and he had a gun to his head. And they, I guess, due to America being as iffy on suicide and various other things, and sexuality, and fan service. As picky as we are about stuff, even though we produce so much more porn than pretty much anywhere else. But the cover got changed. The cover got changed to this, and it originally had C.T. Smith on the cover with a gun to his head on the Japanese release. Okay, here we have Kurohime. Kurohime is a series I absolutely love. It was serialized in Jump Square and Ultra Jump, I believe, back in Japan, and it's actually an 18-volume series. Though Viz being as bitchy as they are, they canceled it on volume 14. You actually kind of knew they was going to cancel it because it doesn't have to be continued or coming in the next volume. Although they have canceled some series where the final volume does end like that and leads you on to, hey, when's the next volume coming out? But this one they did not, so I think they knew right off the bat they was canceling it. But volume 14 also has a one-shot by the mangaka in the back, and that's basically what half of the volume is. Here we have Reborn. I'm only going to talk about one volume from this series. This is a series that was really surprising that it did get canceled here. Contacto Hitman Reborn was a fairly incredibly popular anime and manga over in Japan, and even on the scan sites it was always ranked in like the top 10 whenever it was serialized. But at volume 16 they canceled the series. I'm not really sure why they've done that. I haven't read the series personally, but I've heard that all the way up through volume 8 it's very toned down. It's not really a good manga up until that point. It isn't until the later arcs where it really kicks off and becomes a great series. But it really got canceled before we could get to that point, so only 16 volumes out here. There's not really a reason for me to collect it. I'm just going to collect it in Japanese. But I'm talking about volume 12. Volumes 8 and volume 12 of this series, the English releases are rare. I've even had people see volume 12 in my videos and try to buy it off from me. Luckily, I knew it was rare, I knew it was hard to find, and I found it in stores, so I bought volume 12. Because that was before I was buying Japanese manga, and I was still planning on buying the English version of that. Next up, another series that Viz Media canceled, and that is Bastard. It's a really awesome fantasy, heavy metal, even on the cover it says Bastard Heavy Metal Dark Fantasy. The mangaka, Kazushi Hagiwara, he's heavily influenced by metal bands in the States like Metallica and just older like 80s metal bands and stuff. He's really influenced by that. He really likes that type of music, and it has a lot of references in the manga to their songs and band names. But it's a really good series. It's been going on since I believe '89 in Japan. 26 volumes are out currently. It is one of the top like 3 series that go on hiatus and have had the longest hiatuses despite how long it's been serialized. Sadly, I only have volumes 26 and 27 and the novel that was released at the same time as 27 in Japan. I was kind of hoping that the series was going to pick back up and still keep going, because at the time volume 27 came out, you had the novel coming out and you had big announcements for the series, but I haven't heard anything else about it. I haven't heard any news, no new updates, and that was in 2012, so it's probably going to be waiting a while before we get any more news on Bastard. Here we have O Parts Hunter. This actually is not its name. Its name is 666 Satan. It's basically, I don't really know what it's about, but it's by Masashi Kishimoto's twin brother. That's the mangaka of Naruto, Masashi Kishimoto. This is Seishi Kishimoto, and his art actually gets quite a bit better than Masashi's does. He was criticized in this work about how similar the art was to Naruto, and it actually has in some of the Naruto volumes where he's saying, don't give my brother a hard time, we grew up drawing together, our styles are similar. But later on, his art does get quite a bit better than Masashi's does. Here we have Ultimate Muscle, but it really shouldn't be called that. It even says on it, the Kinnikuman Legacy. Although that's not quite right either, because the original series is Kinnikuman. What we got over here is actually the sequel, Kinnikuman Sei, or Kinnikuman sequel part 2, whatever. But anyway, we got 29 volumes released here, and that is not the full story. Again, Viz Media canceling things and not releasing things in their entirety, and not even starting from the beginning. Ultimate Muscle, or as it was known in the 80s as Muscle with the toy line, yeah, the toys was out here well before the manga, and we even got the video game for the Nintendo Entertainment System of the same name, although the game is very bad. the toys was very popular back in the 80s and early 90s and stuff. And even the anime of Kiniko Man 2, or Ultimate Muscle, whenever it was brought out here, it did phenomenally well, although we have not had a DVD release beyond Volume 1. It did so well here that it did better than Japan, and we had a second season specially made for the US market. If it wasn't for how popular Ultimate Muscle was whenever it came out over here, we would not have a Season 2 if it wasn't for the fans here that actually gave Japan a reason to make the Season 2, because the Season 2 of the anime didn't do too well. But Ultimate Muscle is actually not really a children's comic. It is serialized in a magazine targeted at middle-aged men. So yeah, that's some random knowledge. Okay, pretty much everyone knows this, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Volume 1. This is actually part 3 of the JoJo's series in the JoJo universe. This is Stardust Crusaders. It even says it in it. If you've read the English release, you'll know the whole backstory on how it got started. It has a brief summary of the previous 2 arcs, which is Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency. I'm actually working on collecting the original JoJo's, all the way from Volume 1. I do know Viz Media is releasing the series in English from Volume 1, but it's going to be 2-in-1 omnibus, and I don't really like that. Well, I don't even know if it's going to be 2-in-1. It might be more than 2-in-1. I think they're only going to be releasing 2 volumes for the Phantom Blood arc, which is actually 5 volumes. So it's actually not really a 2-in-1 as it is like a 2.5-in-1. But anyway, JoJo's is a great series. It's been going on since 86 or 88 in Japan, I believe. But anyway, it's on its 8th arc, JoJo Leon, and I really need to get into that. Shaman King. This is actually an amazing manga. I really like this manga, even though in Volume 32 it got cancelled in Japan, and that is all we got released here. Though later on he did go back and he did give an ending to the story, because it ends on a cliffhanger. It never got completed whenever it was serializing in Weekly Shonen Jump. But later on he did go back and finish the story, and then they got released. But over here, for some reason, we still stopped at 32 and we never got the rest of the chapters. So there's not really a reason for you to buy all of these unless you just want a bitch ending where it just drops off. But it's another good series for another aspect, and it's one of the few shonen series that only have one arc. From the beginning, his goal is to become Shaman King. And that is all it is working towards up until the end, is the Shaman King tournament. For a shonen series to do 32 volumes of just a singular arc, that is amazing in itself. I know you can say Naruto did the same thing with him wanting to become Hokage and him becoming the Hokage in the end, but you had multiple arcs in it that he did not plan out from the beginning. Shaman King, and it's like even One Piece is divided into arcs and he does different things, although the overall goal is to find the One Piece. This isn't like that. This doesn't have them going off to a different land. It has different stages of the tournament, and it is all one story building up to one ending. So that's pretty impressive for a shonen series to do that. We have Medaka Box, a very strange manga. It starts off very tame, like not shonen, and then it branches off into a battle shonen manga. It's a 23 volume series. I have currently the first 17. I need to buy the rest, that way I can read the rest. Another thing about Medaka Box, I really love the art in that series. The art is different and amazing at the same time. Okay, here we have Beet the Vandel Buster Volume 12. This is a series that it's probably on a permanent hiatus. Basically, the artist got sick, and he's been sick for like 12 years now, and it's probably never going to pick back up. I'm missing Volume 2, so I haven't read the series up to date, or up to where it gets on hiatus, but I did like Volume 1. It's a decent series. I hope it comes off hiatus one day. I hope the artist one day gets healed and we can continue it, because I just hate to see series that don't end. The last thing I want to talk about is Air Gear. Air Gear. Great manga. I've been reading the manga for probably like 4 years now. And I hate this volume, because it only counts as one volume. It's a 3-in-1 Del Rey whenever, before they changed their name. They really just changed their name to Kodansha Comics and dropped a lot of titles. it's not like the entire company shut down or anything, is it seems like, but sure, we'll say they shut down and went out of business, but they really pretty much just changed their name to Kodansha Comics. But before they did that, they started releasing volumes in 3-in-1s, and this is ugly. I wish they would go back and release it in singles, because this is one of the poorest excuses for an omnibus I have ever seen. It's ridiculous. I would never pay $21.99, which is the retail price for this volume. And even now that it's out of print, like, it's gone through the roof in price. It's like $50 plus, I think, last time I checked. And I wouldn't have got it unless I got it for $2. It really, I wasn't going to pay any more than like $5 or $6 for this, because it's so shitty, man. And the worst part is, whenever we reach the final volume over here stateside, it's going to be 2 volumes less than the Japanese release, because whenever I count manga, I count it by the spine. And this is 3-in-1, so it's going to cut the total count for the manga down by 2. So that's just really shitty how they would do that, and one day I may replace them all in Japanese. Until then, it's just going to look terrible on my bookshelf. Well, I think that's enough talking for this episode. Part of it and basically ramble on aimlessly and give random bits of knowledge about random things. So, until next time, I'm out.